Hello students, welcome to the next session in the distributed systems where we are going to deal today web-based systems in the distributed environment. Here we are going to see the contents, the architecture, we are going to see the traditional architecture over there, then how the web documents can be maintained. See, as we are mentioning web-based, so web-based is nothing but the websites, documents, everything comes into the picture over here. So thus we need all the web documents also to be analyzed. Then the multi-tier architecture, then the process and communication, all these are the introduction part of our distributed web-based systems. So let us start with the distributed web-based system introduction. See, first of all, in the World Wide Web, we will be having n number of huge data which should be maintained distributed environment. So when we have n number of clients who are asking for so and so data, immediately that particular server has to be activated. From that particular server, the client must be getting response as a request which is thrown by the client. The response manner will be getting some data as a from the server, right? So all this process will be taking place. At this moment, which document to be highlighted, which document to be accessed, right? So all this we need to analyze in the web-based systems. Along with that, we need to maintain server with a collection of documents. See, everywhere server is a collection of n number of documents, files, data we can say. Now, who are the clients? Clients are the users who wants one interface to interact. Okay, so why they are interacting with the interface? To get some input and to get some output which they are expecting with the given input. Right, so this is our basic architecture we are going to see here, where the client machine and the server machine will be there. Client will be interacting with the browser and the server will be having a web server in that where it will be having data with that. So browser will be connecting as an input provided by the client to the web server. Now web server will be processing that and it will be giving the response. So all this procedure will be done with the HTTP, where HTTP is the document request and response category, hypertext transfer protocol it is. Now coming to the, this is the architecture and this is a few points which we should know about the architecture. So architecture is very simple, client server architecture, where we have to ask for one particular document with respect to, again, with a reference with the URL, right? Uniform resource locator. So with this URL, which document to be linked and which web server to be called. So everything that will be in a sequence order, and in the reverse sequence order we will get the response, right? So here we also need the domain name server, because we don't know what is the IP address of so and so company, right? So and so document, right? So we will be searching with respect to the computer science engineering. So those particular domain name will be having internally a number of IP addresses which should be highlighted, will be linked at that moment, right? And this is application level protocol. The URL is a application level protocol where a user can directly connect with that URL only. Now client interacts with the web server through the browser. Yes, so client interacts with the browser. From there it will connect to the web browser, and from web browser you will be getting the data from the server database in the reverse order. Now, what is a web document first of all? A web document is nothing but what is the main content which a user is expecting will be available in the web document. And web document will be having two parts, body and also the template part. So where the main part will be having all the HTML and XML content over there, and the next will be the body part, what is the exact content we are maintaining. Now coming to the web documents, we should have a universal documentation format. So for that we have MIME, multi-purpose internet mail exchange type. So where the data will be maintained universally same, right? So for that purpose we have MIME types. So here we have MIME types also mentioned here. We can have data in the format of text or image, audio, video, applications and multi-parts. See, in the multi-parts we can go with the mixed and parallel. This is a new word where we will be having a specified order of the data. And applications will be like directly .exe, and which can be executed. Application levels, videos we know, audios, and image you can store in GIF and JPEG. Plain text we can store, and HTML data we can store, or is the configuration data that is in the format of XML we can store. Here is a multi-tier architecture. We will be having a common gateway interface. CGI will be there. CGI will be called as a standard way to communicate with the web server. Okay. Now here also we need a user interface to connect with the data, where user data comes from the HTML forms, right? So as we have mentioned, the main part of the web document will be maintained in the HTML page or else in the XML page, right? XML will be with the configurations and HTML will be with the data, right? So this content we are going to maintain in the multi-tier architecture, which will be taking input requests from the client and which will be giving the responses with respect to the server, whatever it is getting as an input. Next, the communication procedure. So in the web-based systems, who are the processes, how the communication can be taken place is about the coming slide. So where we are going to say what is the process, anything under execution. A process is nothing but a program under execution, any application which is under execution, everything will be taken care as a process. Now when these processes can communicate, see, processes can be clients or is the web servers or is the web clusters, web server clusters. See, here we have Apache web server, which is a mediator between the main server data and also your client interface, right? Browser, we can say as a browser. So the processes are clients, where Apache web server and Apache web server clusters over here. Now, web client is nothing but who is the user who are going to communicate with the interface through the browser, and they are going to give any inputs, right? So a web client is a piece of code, to say it's a piece of code that is also called as a browser. From the browser, user enables whatever they want as a request to the server. Okay. Now from there, web server will be enabled. Okay. Then from web server, the data will be fetched from the database of the server, and then your client will be getting the data. So the core of the browser is formed by the browser engine. See, this browser engine is important word to be highlighted here. From the browser engine, which web page to be linked will be taken care by the rendering engine. Okay, so you will be having that as a front end client interacting with the system. So that is a browser. So from the browser engine, from the browser engine you will be having the rendering engine. At this rendering engine, which part of the code you have to execute, which part of the document you have to display will be taken care by the rendering engine. From here, the exact server page will be taken by the rendering engine with the help of the web server over there. Okay, see, user interface, browser engine, from the rendering engine, which data script, whatever you want will be taken from this rendering engine exactly. Now, Apache web server is a very important thing, and already you guys might have familiar with this a number of times in the project sessions and all. So, this is nothing but it's a web server will be having all the connectivities with the rendering engines and also the server data. Okay, so this is a basic interaction purpose. So here we have to maintain Apache Portable Runtime APR, which is one of the library maintained by the Apache web server to connect with a number of systems. Now every system, every phase will be having a hook over there. Hook is nothing but which can perform similar action a number of times. Okay, so let us see in the next session, next slide. See, we have a number of modules here, functions we can say. All the functions are connecting with the hook. So what is the job of the hook is nothing but it's a function called to perform a specific task. So that task is again the same task, similar actions. See, group of similar actions which are going to taken place at the time of execution will be called as a hook over there. Okay, so these hooks will be called by the functions, right? Next is a cluster. See, cluster is nothing but a group of similar kind of data we have to place at one place. Now, when we have n number of servers, all the servers we combine as a one cluster. Okay, group of similar height people, we form them as a height 5.4 and you are one cluster. So, in the similar way, we are going to maintain the clusters which are similar and the content wise or else some linking documents wise or else rendering wise, all the like XML content one place or else some script content one place. So, like that we are going to maintain the web servers as a cluster over there. Here you can see these all web servers are maintained as a one cluster with only one front end, right? Yeah. So, this is one of the content aware cluster where we are seeing the full picture of the communication and which process is enabling. See, first of all we are going to take with the client. So, client will be having the browser engine first. So, from there they will be starting the setup request to the switch. Now, switch is very important part between the client and the main processing because switch will highlight to which web server you have to connect. See, client is there. From there they have taken the request, so it has given to the distributor. Now the distributor will say to which web server you have to connect. Okay, so distributor will be handing this to the web server, your exact web server, and it will also inform your switch, client switch, that I have moved from this particular distributor web server to this particular distributor web server. So, this switching information also this switch will get. From here, from this fourth point, whatever the client is giving the messages will be given to this web server directly. And the communication will be, the response will be given by this web server to the client directly. Okay, so till the establishment of the connection, we need a switch, distributor and a TCP connection over there. In between, we need the dispatcher to select who is your server. Okay, if I am asked for computer science world document, so the document is present in web server 2. This is web server 1. So, I have connected to the web server 1, but dispatcher to the distributor will say that you have to connect to the web server 2, not me. So, this information establishment will be connected by the TCP connection, and this information I will also give to the client switch, so that client will communicate with the web server once again from this point. Okay, even the server will be giving the responses to the client directly over there. If you have any doubts still here, please be free to contact anytime in the college. Thank you.